Good evening, learners. My name is Mr. Ocheng Anthony, and today I'm going to take you through Integrated Science Grade 7. We are going to handle the third strand, that is, living things and their environment. And the specific substrand that we are going to discuss today is reproduction in humans, and specifically, we are going to handle the changes that normally take place in boys and girls during the adolescence stage. Welcome. Before we commence, it is good for us to understand the meaning of the term adolescence stage. And adolescence stage is defined as a stage of life during which a girl or a boy develops from childhood to adulthood. The stage is also called puberty, and puberty is a stage of sexual maturity when the reproductive organs begin to function. Grade 7 learners, I want you to understand that when a child is born, the presence of vagina and penis is normally used to differentiate or to know whether the baby is a boy or a girl. These physical features, we normally call them primary sexual characteristics. At adolescent stage, however, which normally begins at an age of 12 years in girls and between the age of 13 and 15 years in boys, other features normally develop that normally help us to differentiate the boys from girls. These features, we normally call them secondary sexual characteristics. I want you to note that the secondary sexual characteristics are normally brought about by some hormones. The hormone that is responsible for the appearance of secondary sexual characteristics in females is the hormone that we are calling estrogen, and on the other hand, the hormone that is responsible for appearance of secondary sexual characteristics in males or boys is the hormone that we are calling testosterone. Now, I want us to look at how adolescence normally occurs in boys. I want you to note that in boys, the adolescent stage will begin at an age of between 13 and 15 years, and in the brain, we normally have a part that we call hypothalamus. Below the hypothalamus, we have a gland that we call pituitary gland, and these two are very important as far as the development of secondary sexual characteristics are concerned. I want you to know that when a boy reaches puberty at an age of between 13 and 15 years, the hypothalamus normally stimulates the pituitary gland to release gonadotropin hormones. Gonadotropin comes from two words, gonado and tropin. Gonado means gonad, and the gonads are the reproductive organs like the testes and the ovary. Then the suffix tropin means that the hormones that will be produced will go to another part of the body to tell that part to release a hormone or something that will be used in that particular area or be used elsewhere within the body. Now, when the hypothalamus stimulates the pituitary gland will release two gonadotropin hormones. One of those gonadotropin hormones, we are calling it follicle stimulating hormone, and the other one is called luteinizing hormone. Once the follicle stimulating hormone has been released by the pituitary gland, it will move to the testes and it will stimulate the cells that we are calling Sertoli cells to start producing sperms in a process we call spermatogenesis. On the other hand, the luteinizing hormones, once it has been released by the pituitary gland, it will move to the testes and it will stimulate another group of cells that we are calling interstitial cells to start releasing a hormone that we are calling testosterone hormone. Once testosterone hormone has been released, the hormone will stimulate the onset of secondary sexual characteristics in boys or males. Now, we have a diagram here. The diagram represents some of the changes that will take place once this hormone has been released in boys during that stage that we are calling the adolescent stage. If you are very keen, you will observe that on the far left, we have that part that has been labeled shoulders, and the shoulders have started broadening. Below the shoulders, we have the armpits, and the label is telling us that we have some hair that have started growing in the armpits. Below there, we have the growth of hair in the pubic area, Then if you make an observation on the legs of that particular young man, we are seeing that we have some muscles that have started developing there. On the far right, we have an arrow telling us that on the face of that particular boy, we have some hair that have started growing there. Below that, there is an indication of deepening of voice. And finally, we are being told that the height of the boy has started increasing. All these changes are the changes that we are calling physical changes or secondary sexual characteristics that normally occur in boys at this stage that we are calling adolescent stage or puberty stage. Now, we can list those changes one by one. So the changes that will take place in boys during the adolescent stage normally includes the following. Number one, we have deepening of voice. Number two, we have growth of hair in the chin. The hair that grows in the chin, we call them beards. Apart from beards, we'll be having hair growing in the pubic areas. Apart from that, some will grow in the armpits and others will grow on the chest. Change number three is that during puberty, there will be formation of sperms that will begin. The sperms, we also call them spermatozoa. Then change number four that will occur in boys during puberty is that the body will start becoming muscular. Number five, the chest and shoulders will enlarge. Number six, the testes will also enlarge. And finally, number seven, the boys will start experiencing wet dreams. With that, we are done with the adolescence stage in boys. Now, I want us to look at the adolescent stage in girls. And I want you to note that just like we have seen in boys, normally the hormones will play a major role in the emergence of these characteristics that we are calling secondary sexual characteristics. And again, the part of the brain that we are calling hypothalamus will have a role to play. Normally, at puberty in girls, which normally takes place at an age of 12 years, the hypothalamus will stimulate the pituitary gland to release gonadotropin hormones. The two gonadotropin hormones are the follicle stimulating hormone and the luteinizing hormone. Once the luteinizing hormone has been produced by the pituitary gland, it will move to the ovary. When it gets there, it will stimulate maturation of Graafian follicles. The Graafian follicles are the immature ova. Once they have been stimulated, they will mature, and a mature ovum will rupture and release an ovum in the process that we are calling ovulation. On the other hand, the follicle stimulating hormone, once it has been released by the pituitary gland, it will move to the ovary. Then once in the ovary, it will stimulate the ovary to release estrogen hormone. Then the estrogen hormone will initiate the development of secondary sexual characteristics in girls or in females. Again, I want us to make observation on this particular diagram that we are having here. As you can see, this is just an illustration of a girl that has reached this stage that we are calling puberty or adolescent stage. On the far left, there is an indication there that there is an increase in height of that particular girl. Below that, we have development of breast. Again, below that, we have growth of hair in the armpits. Below there, we have widening of hips. Then again, below there, we have growth of hair in the pubic region. On the far right, we have some changes in the emotions and social development. Then below there, we have oily skin and possible acne at the pimples. Then below there, we have increased body sweating. And finally, we have onset of menstruation. So these are just some of the physical challenges that will start emerging from this particular girl when she reaches this particular stage that we are calling puberty. And all these changes will come as a result of the influence of the hormone that we are calling estrogen. Again, I want us to list those changes one by one. And the first physical change that will occur in girls during puberty is a change we are calling ovulation. So ovulation will start. Ovulation is also called, you can also talk about menstruation beginning at that time. At the same time, you can also say that ovaries will mature and start releasing eggs. Change number 2 that will occur in girls during puberty is the development and enlargement of the mammary glands. The mammary glands, we also call them the breast, and this one normally occurs in anticipation for lactation. Then a physical change number 3 in girls during puberty is growth of hair in the pubic regions and the armpits. Change number 4 is the enlargement of the pelvic girdle, and this one normally result in widening of the hips in preparation for birth. Then lastly, the last change that will take place in girls during puberty is the deposition of fats around the thighs and the hips, and when this occurs, normally it results in the curved appearance in girls. Now learners, I want us to categorize these changes into 3 groups. The first group, we will talk about the changes that normally occur exclusively in girls. Then the second group, we will discuss the changes that normally occur exclusively in boys. Then the third group of the changes, we will discuss the changes that normally occur in both boys and girls. So I'll begin with the changes that are exclusively for girls. So change number 1 is menstruation, the beginning of menstruation. Then number 2 is that breast will start enlarging, and number 3, the hips will start broadening. Those 3 changes will only occur in girls alone. Now I want us to look at the physical changes that will take place only in boys during puberty. Change number 1 is the broadening of shoulders. Change number 2 is the growth of hair on the chest. Change number 3 is the appearance of the Adam's apple and breakage of voice. Then change number 4 is the experiencing of wet dreams by the boys. The third category of changes I want us now to look at is the changes that normally occur in both boys and girls during puberty or the adolescent stage. And these ones normally include, number 1, increase in weight and height. Number 2, growth of hair in pubic area. Number 3, growth of hair in the armpits. And finally, number 4, pimples may appear on the face. Learners, again, I want you to understand that during this stage that you are calling adolescent stage or puberty, as the boys and girls will be having some physical changes that will be taking place from within their bodies, they normally undergo a number of challenges. Those challenges that they normally undergo have been categorized into 3 groups. There is a group that we are calling physical challenges. The second group, we are calling them social challenges. And the third group is the group that we are calling emotional challenges. I want us to discuss those challenges one by one, and we shall begin with the physical challenges. And the first physical challenge that will occur in boys is the appearance of pimples on the face. Normally, when this occurs, the boys will get stressed up. Apart from the appearance of pimples, we normally have sweating and bad smell. So those 2 are the physical challenges that will be experienced by boys during puberty. The physical challenges that the girls will experience during this stage that we are calling puberty includes, number 1, appearance of pimples on the face. Number 2, sweating and bad smell. Number 3, enlargement of breast, which sometimes normally appear to be painful. Then number 4, we have excessive bleeding during menstruation. And finally, number 5, abdominal pain during menstruation. The second group of challenges that are experienced by boys and girls during the puberty stage is the category we are calling social challenges. And the first social challenge that will be experienced by boys is peer pressure. Peer pressure is when a person is influenced by peers to act in a certain way. The second social challenge for boys is withdrawing from people. And again, I want you to note that these challenges, they are normally similar in both boys and girls, in that the first social challenge that girls will experience during puberty is peer pressure. And challenge number two, social challenge number two, is the withdrawing from people, especially the adults. The third category of challenges that boys and girls normally experience during puberty is the category we are calling emotional challenges. And the emotional challenges that boys will experience is shyness and low self-esteem, and number two, mood swings. The girls will also experience the same challenges, in that challenge number one that they will experience is shyness and low self-esteem, and at the same time they will be having some mood swings. Learners, I want you to understand that it is always important to know the various ways of how you can manage these challenges when you encounter them as you enter into this stage that we are calling puberty stage. We have mentioned the three categories of challenges that are normally experienced. We've said that there is a category we call social challenges. There is another category we call physical challenges. And the last category is the category that we've called emotional challenges. Now, I want us to discuss the various ways and methods that we can use to manage some of these challenges. I'll begin with challenge number one, which is painful menstruation or menstrual cramps for girls. And when the girls are experiencing painful menstrual cramps, it is normally advised to do the following. Number one, she is required to seek medical advice, and once she has been advised by the doctor or the clinician that from whom she was seeking that advice, then it is advisable for her to follow everything that the doctor has told her to do. Apart from that, she can also do regular exercise. That one will help her to reduce the cramps. Then the challenge number two, which is sweating and bad smell. For that one, you are advised to be taking bath regularly, particularly in the mornings and in the evenings. Challenge number three is shyness and low self-esteem, and this one can be encountered through participation in activities such as debates and class representations. At the same time, you can also solve it by talking to friends, talking to your teachers, and also talking to your parents about what you feel. Challenge number four is peer pressure, and this one you can solve it by choosing to have good friends. With that, learners, we have come to an end of our today's lesson. We have learned that boys and girls normally undergo a stage of development from childhood to adulthood, and that stage we've said that we normally call it adolescent stage or puberty. And we've said that normally during that time we normally have some changes that normally occur. Those changes we normally call them the secondary sexual characteristics, and the secondary sexual characteristics are normally brought about by some hormones. The hormone that is responsible for development of secondary sexual characteristic in females or in girls is the hormone that we are calling estrogen, and at the same time the hormone that is responsible for the development of secondary sexual characteristics in boys is the hormone that we are calling testosterone. Again, we have learned today that we have specific characteristics, specific changes that normally occur in boys and girls. And in boys, we've said that one of the specific characteristics that is exclusively for boys is the breakage of voice. Number two is the experiencing of wet dreams. And number three is broadening of shoulders. For girls, we've said that the specific physical changes that will occur in girls only includes number one, experiencing of menstruation, number two, broadening of hips, and number three, the enlargement of breast. Again, we've said that during this stage that we are calling adolescence, normally boys and girls undergo various challenges. Those challenges have been grouped into three categories. There is a category we are calling physical challenges, Another category we are calling it emotional challenges, and another category we are calling it social challenges. So allow me, learners, to appreciate your time. Thank you so much for attending to today's lesson. May you have a good day and may you have success in your exams. Thank you.